What is going on, guys? Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. With a lot of thought, especially with the market and how things are going in the hobby right now, I figured it was finally time for me to go ahead and sign up for a PSA membership. I was going to wait for GameStop to potentially, right down the street from me, start to do grading. That way I could just drop off a couple cards at a time and go at my own pace. But because I signed up for the membership and because there is a holiday Pokemon special, $13.99 a card, I figured if there's a time for me to seriously go all in on grading, now would be the time. Not only am I grading a ton of cards that I just really like, I'm grading a lot of the alt arts that I've had in my modern binders. I said that doing binders was something that I probably wouldn't do again if I had the chance. There are some sets such as, Evolving Skies or 151. I guess in another case now, Surging Sparks, even though I still really only like the Latias the most out of Surging Sparks. But anyways, there are definitely some sets that you want to master for sure. And 151 was one of them, but I had to get the best probability that I'm going to get some good grades. So I've got this stack of cards here, right? We're about to switch the camera angle and I'm going to point you guys down below so that you guys can go through this whole stack with me of all these cards. I figured we would send as many cards as possible, and I'm going to talk about that briefly. I'm actually hoping that I can squeeze all of these in at the post office today, so I'd like to get these dropped off. So I'm actually making this video a lot shorter than I would make most videos, but I think this is one of the coolest videos I've made in a while. We're not talking about hype vintage grail stuff. We are talking about stuff that everybody is talking about right now, modern cards. So let's go over these. I bought a lot of these a while ago, but anyways, I'll see you guys in the next angle. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and look through the 90-something cards I'm about to send to PSA. With everything tallied up, this is going to come out to about $1,200. I'm not sure. That's probably not with tax. And then shipping as well. I'm really not going to worry about shipping. I'm going to go with super cheap shipping. I'm not going to insure this. I've never had an issue with USPS. I know a lot of people are going to freak out when I say that it's not going to be insured. But I trust that they'll get it to PSA. And then if anything is going to go wrong, it's probably going to go wrong at PSA. But let's go ahead and get into these. Well, I'll just hold it like this, actually. So first off, we got the Van Gogh Pikachu, the promo that I've referenced this card a lot. I did not really want to break these out of the cellophane, but I went ahead and did that. They look like they're both in really, really good shape. The backs look like they're really good on both of these. And yeah, I hope you guys like the change of scenery. I know my wood floors are probably a little dirty in this house. I do like that we have real wood floors though. Okay, so here we have the Ancient Mew. This came out of the movie promo pack, and it really hurt me to open these three cards because they were in their little cellophane packs in a time capsule for history. But I really, really like Ancient Mew. I always wanted one of these in a PSA 10, and this one is stupid clean, really well centered, slightly off center, but for the most part, like on the right, it's a little thick, but for the most part, it's in really, really good shape. We've got a lot of cards, so let's keep going. We had two Skeledurges. I pulled both of these, which is pretty awesome. Both of them are really, really well centered. Both of them are super clean on the back. I feel like I'm going to get a lot of 10s, but I'm also not going to cry about getting 9s because I do fully expect a lot of these are going to get 9s. This is just with all of the Latias hype lately with Surging Sparks and Latias GX from Team Up. With all the hype for these cards, I felt like it was the right time to get this guy graded, and I specifically looked for a nice copy of this Latias because I really like this one. There are so many cards from Crown Zenith that I really wanted to get graded, but we're just starting with cards that I have to get graded. Cards that I feel like I will want to show off time and time again. This Mew really has not been on my radar for a long time, but when I actually started looking through my binders again, I realized that there is a place for binders. When I pull cards in the future, I'll want a place to put them. But for the most part, the nicest cards that I have deserve to be graded. And so that is exactly what I intend to do. I love this artwork. I really, really love Nidokings. The fact that Nidoran and Nidorino are over here in the background, I didn't really even notice that before. So many sets keep getting released that it's kind of hard to keep up and even appreciate the cards from the old ones. And I think Mew, this Galarian Gallery definitely deserved to get graded. And so I'm grading both of those. This Umbreon VMAX I pulled myself. This one really didn't get a lot of love. I thought this card was going to be a huge chase card in Brilliant Stars, and boy was I wrong. A reoccurring trend is cards with these trainers in them tend to not do all that great. And you know, I don't know if you're like me, but I would much rather have just had this Umbreon VMAX laying there on top of a building, you know, without her in the photo, in the picture frame. All right, we've got this Arceus, another great alt art from Brilliant Stars. I did not pull this one myself. A lot of these cards I have pulled, and a lot of them I have bought. This one I picked up from my local shop for like dirt cheap. I think it was like $40 I picked this card up for. I fully expect this card to get a PSA 10. There's no doubt in my mind that this card gets a PSA 10. So I'm really looking forward to that because I know that this is a $200 plus card and a 10. And I also just really, really like this card, and I've had it raw for too long. This one I bought. I really like all the team up cards, honestly. So if they're 8s, I just pray to God. This one has a little bit of whitening on each of the corners. Well, on these 3 corners over here, it looks like, yeah, this one down here is okay. But I'm really, really praying that at the very least I just get a 9 on this guy. I know it's definitely not going to get a 10. I mean, anything can happen, but I think it's highly unlikely it gets a 10. I did not expect that my Umbreon VMAX from Evolving Skies and Rayquaza VMAX from Evolving Skies were going to get 10s. And both of them did, and both of them were off center and had tiny little micro scratches. This Starmie V, I forgot I even had. I love this card. This card is phenomenal. And whenever you've got any of the OG main Boomer characters, it's just a card I really like. All right, right here, we got the Garchomp. All right, shout out to my boy Dragon Slasher, okay? We've got a buddy in our Discord who's been supporting my videos for a long time. And supporting me on my Instagram, both my Instagram pages. Buddy, this one's for you. We got Cynthia right here with the Garchomp. I don't know Cynthia's character that well, but I really like that she's down with Garchomp. Garchomp is grown on me a ton, just like Giratina. There's some of these newer generation Pokemon, which aren't really so new. I'm just a boomer. These Pokemon look awesome, man. Like, there's fire. Right here, we got Beedrill, one of my absolute favorites from Astro Radiance. This card is so slept on, it's stupid. Honestly, this is the type of card that I would buy multiples of and then find out that no one really cares about it. But this card is just absolutely stunning me. To get this with a pink graded guard after it gets slabbed, whether it's a 9, 10. I just hope I don't get any 8s. Other than the vintage cards I'm sending, I really hope I don't get any 8s. Here we got the Origin Form Dialga. This card just has a lot of great colors. You could rock this with so many different graded guard protectors. And if graded guards aren't your thing, that's fine too. But getting these protected long term is really important to me. So I'm going to go ahead and get them graded. And I always worry sitting in the binder that they'll get like curled or something like that. I just don't want that type of stuff to happen. Even though I am equally as worried these cards will get damaged by PSA. Origin Form Palkia, this card was so hype when Astro Radiance first dropped. A lot of people were talking about the Dialga and the Palkia, these being the main chase cards. What ended up happening, and I'm trying to keep these sequential, is the Machamp really got all the love. I picked up a lot of these alt arts at regionals here in Charlotte this past year. Well, earlier in this year, since we're right about to be in 2025. Man, so time flies, man, and these have picked up a lot of steam. I only wish I had bought more. This Machamp is going to look really, really cool with a blue graded guard or a black graded guard. It's just going to look sick. Yeah, it was pretty cool to come back into this hobby at the absolute peak of alt arts. In my opinion, this is the peak of alt arts. You know what? Maybe Sun and Moon is actually kind of the peak of alt arts. I don't know. I love that Sun and Moon is kind of vintagey now. Anyways, Aerodactyl V. I don't really care for this card that much. I really don't, but I do think that it would look cool with like a purple graded guard. And if you're going to do the Giratina, you got to do the Aerodactyl. So here we go. One of the biggest cards I'm sending in this submission that I feel really, really confident about. Maybe even you could say a little cocky because the centering is really good and there is no wear on the back. There's a story with this Giratina V. I'm forgetting his name on Instagram, but you know who you are. You're probably watching this video or someone knows who you are. But homie had like 100 copies of Giratina at the first Collecticon I ever went to, and I knew that, and they were down at the time. At the time, alt arts were doing really, really poorly. For those of you that are new here, everything in the market was down, including the Giratina V, which, you know, now is like $400 raw. But this card at the time, I was able to snag up for $190. And so I picked this from 100 other copies. If this one does not get a 10, I will lose it, because this is such a good copy. I picked this one out really trying to be picky with it, because this, along with Rayquaza VMAX and Umbreon VMAX from Evolving Skies, this would be a really big card for me to get in a 10. That would really, really make this whole sub worth it. Honestly, the whole sub would be break even after that card 10'd. So when you're doing bulk submissions like this, it can really work out in your favor, especially with that holiday discount. I'm saving $1 on every sub, which means I'm saving an average of about $100 on this whole submission. Really was good timing. Here we have the Pikachu VMAX from Lost Origin. This card's really not worth that much in a 10. But you guys are going to see cards here that aren't worth that much that I think are awesome. And I just want to point that out because I think a lot of people are under the assumption that I don't fuck with Modern at all, and that's just not the case. I fuck with it heavy. I'm not going to go all in on it because I still think it's risky, and I think the populations are high. And I just talked in the last video that, you know, that stuff may be irrelevant, but it's still something that I factor in. It just seems to be irrelevant to all of the newer collectors coming into the hobby. So here we have a Roaring Moon EX. This was really, I was excited for this card, and I'm excited for this card to be in Prismatic Evolutions too. Roaring Moon has an insane artwork that I definitely intend on buying and grading, or buying graded. I've talked a lot about buying cards that are graded, and that I do have a good eye for those cards, but honestly, I have an amazing shop here in Charlotte that I can go to for raw cards, and if some of these cards are from that shop, so if these cards do well, that may be a shop that I continue to go back to and look for singles. But the centering is really good on this Roaring Moon. It doesn't have anywhere on the back. I really can't see this card not getting a 10. This is the chase of Paradox Rift. I would also really like the Altaria from Paradox Rift, but here we have a super, super cheap slept-on card. The art is absolutely dope. It's phenomenal. It's like a freaking sandcastle over here with all the palm trees. This is just a tropical feel-good card, and there's no money that needs to be tacked onto this card. It's beautiful. It's gonna look sick with a graded guard. I pulled this guy from Obsidian Flames like 3 or 4 ETBs in. I bought a case of ETBs, and we didn't really get much else out of any of those ETBs. We opened pretty much all the other ones, but we got lucky early on. I did say when the set came out that I was not impressed with this card. I'm still not all that impressed with it. I still hate the fact that there's a Terra Crown. But you see, they were smart with putting that text box in front of it. Aesthetically, artistically, it does look a lot better with that text box in front of it. It almost looks like the crown is an afterthought, and we can just appreciate Charizard. Again, if it did not have that crown, and you just saw Charizard, you know, basically roaring, and you saw his horns, and just a background of crystal, it would have looked sick. But obviously this is the Terra Crown Charizard. None of it would make sense if it didn't have the Terra Crown itself. I just really, really disagree with the entire Terra Crown design. I just hate that they did that in Scarlet and Violet. Now, luckily in Scarlet and Violet, there's so many other cards. One that I'd like to mention that I wish was in the sub was the Bubble Mew. I would love to get that card, and you know what? If I don't have time to make this sub today, I might even go to my local card shop and just see if they have any other SIRs that would be fun to send in the submission. This Gengar has a poor chance of getting a 10. It's pretty off-center, but you know what? Again, so is my Rayquaza. And for example, I'm going to go ahead, I'm gonna get the Rayquaza just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And this also was graded not long ago. 8.3 was right around the corner. Look how off center this is, guys. And they still tend it. You know why they tend it? Because look at the back. It's flawless. I really think they're being pretty lax on modern, which is why a lot of people have been able to build value and see a lot of growth. But I also just think that they are handing those 10s out more easily. If we look in comparison at the Gengar Mimikyu that I love so much, and I would love to get this in a 10, but probably never will, just because this card itself is flawless, but it is off center. But on these cards, it's more noticeable. And I guess it's more, they're grading harsher on these because they're much lower pop than the modern alt arts that we have now. But this one, super clean. I couldn't find any scratches on it on my magnifier glass in the sunroom. But then the back, absolutely flawless. Absolutely flawless back of this card. Not a single dot of white. And this thing still, they gave it a 9, which is crazy to me. I still haven't gotten over it, guys. And then I do have this up here. I'm only going to bring this up because it's a small card, and it was graded by a buddy of mine a long time ago. Shout out to you. You know who you are. But anyways, yeah, this guy came back at 10, and honestly, it's not really worth much. But this is one of my favorite cards in all of Crown Zenith, is this Pikachu right here. This Pikachu, to me, is extremely grossly undervalued. It's awesome, and I know I should put my money where my mouth is and buy more of these guys if I like them so much, but it doesn't matter what we think. The market wants what the market wants, but I still like it. I still think it looks beautiful, especially with that pink graded guard. Anyways, other than that, the Mewtwo would be exceptional to get in my collection, but yeah. Other than that, the Gengar does have a really good back. I'm not a fan of this Gengar. I don't think it's all that great. But you guys can tell this is a phenomenal condition. If this thing gets a 10, that thing is money. All right, so here we have Mew V. Super cheap, little guy right here, but super dope. Also super off-center, but dumb clean on the back. So again, I'm kind of just banking. I'm kind of hoping I get somebody on a good day. We got this stack right here. I'm going to bring this a little closer up. All right, so we've got the Mew VMAX. Again, a little off center, but I just think if the card's in really, really good shape, they might overlook that and still give it a 10. I looked through my vintage binders today, and I couldn't find anything that was really worth grading. I only picked out 2 cards that'll be fun to send along with this sub. But, okay, we got this Celebi. We got 2 Celebis. I pulled both of these from Fusion Strike. These are the only alt arts I pulled from Fusion Strike. Unfortunately, that was a bummer. We opened a lot of Fusion Strike, and we just could not luck out as far as that went. We pulled this one too. This is actually a painful story and a good lesson and reminder, and that's also why I got this graded, even though it's not worth that much, and I'm not the biggest fan of Noivern, the Batman alt art. I bought a lot of Sam's Club heavy hitters boxes, which were these like $40 value boxes where you got like super dumb cheap, like $2 a pack pricing on Sword and Shield when Sword and Shield was starting to run up a check. And, we opened a whole pallet of those boxes. And this was the only, I think we got one other alt art. I know we got one other alt art, but it wasn't that crazy. This is the main one that I remember for sure. I think we got a Skunk Tank from Silver Tempest, which was an L. And we got this Noivern V. But yeah, it's a reminder not to go heavily into products like that. I don't really care what it gets graded. The back is flawless, but it is off center. So either way, it's really, really hard to find good card cut quality from this era. So in fact, yeah, I'll stack those there. So hopefully, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully somebody's having a good day. This Dragonite looks like it has a really, really good chance Absolutely stunning card. It's so much fun to be able to look over all of these in a video with you guys again. Also, just to clear the air again, that I love these cards. I have been waiting for the right moment. At this point, it makes perfect sense with the PSA holiday deal going on to send all these in at $13.99. Yeah, this one is super clean. That's going to be fun. We got the Leafeon VMAX, picked up this guy at regionals. Again, I did not pick up I was super picky because I knew there'd be multiple vendors with these cards, and there were. So I waited, and I even paid a little bit more than I wanted to, even compared to other vendors, to find the best copies I could. They might not look at back centering, but this thing is perfectly centered on the back. Dude, honestly, this thing has a good chance of getting a 10. Good chance of a 10 on this Leafeon VMAX. Not even a huge fan of the VMAX clouds, but evolutions are always going to be popular, and at least this was the best art for these cards before prismatic evolutions and all the hype and the Terra crowns and the Terra stylization, which I'm not a fan of. Those cards look beautiful, but they still got nothing on Sword and Shield in my opinion, and I'm sure they will boom in price. But I love this Glaceon the most of all these Evolution VMAXs, maybe even including the Umbreon, because it's got this cute little Pikachu in it. And I don't know, the yellow and the blue are so complementary with these colors around. The Glaceon is, I think, one of the most slept on evolutions. And you know, it's funny because I've slept on Glaceon as a Pokemon overall, but this card really brought Glaceon back to life for me. I don't know if you guys can relate to like certain Pokemon you don't care about until you see them in a certain alt art, and then you're like, damn. Like the Empoleon from Battle Styles, I didn't care about Empoleon, but now I'm like, damn, I need to get that card. Espeon VMAX, again, not the best centering. I'm sure some people would be like, bro, sending these cards with bad centering, like you're asking to get knocked, but dude, they're still super dumb clean. And again, my Rayquaza is a good example that you don't have to be perfect. This is modern we're talking about. They are letting a lot of these cards through the floodgates. This Leafeon V I did pull from a random Evolving Skies hanger. That was a pretty cool live stream pulling this guy. This is the best card I've pulled from Evolving Skies so far. Myself. Sylveon V, picked this guy up at regionals. Pretty well centered. Pretty clean. Not a huge fan of the artwork, but it's an evolution. Now, this artwork, on the other hand, I am so stoked about. In fact, I would be willing to say that the Espeon V is the best artwork in all of Evolving Skies. I think that this is the best artwork right here. And I don't know. I wish they had the Espeon VMAX in Fusion Strike as well. I know a lot of people are going to say, and that one's pretty well centered. And no whitening. This guy is a really good shot at a 10. A lot of people are going to say this is the best out of Evolving Skies. This Umbreon V, I think I picked this guy up for like $60. I was like, dude, this card is super undervalued. I'm just going to pick one up. And picked it up raw from my local shop. This one I think has a really good chance at a 10. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know what you think in the comments. Damn, this video is already longer than I expected it to be. And it's a two-part video. We got the Rayquaza. So with the Kirlia, this card, in my opinion, would have been worlds better. Like, let's just imagine that Kirlia is not there. This card would have been, you know what? I could do that a different way, too. This card would have been worlds better if it was just Rayquaza. See if it'll focus in on that. Oh, dang it. Focus. This card had so much potential. And I feel that Whismur and Kirlia ruined it. Absolutely ruined it. This card was, in my opinion, set on track to be the best card of Evolving Skies. And they dropped the ball with it. So there's two of these getting graded. I don't think either of these will 10, but I'm hoping one of them does. Because that would be huge. And even if they 9, I'll probably keep it because I love Rayquaza. This is one of the vintage cards I'm sending. Why? Gengar is really popular. And I got this so cheap out of a collection purchase that cost me next to nothing, and it's in decent shape. There's definitely some whitening on this corner and this corner that's not good, not a good look, but other than that, I still think it has a really good chance at a 5 or 6. And it's a really cool card. So I'd like to have that in a purple graded guard. We've been doing pretty good today with Asher's sleep schedule. You might hear him in the background. I bought several of these, both graded and raw, and none of them have come back with getting a 10. Anyways, and I have a 9, but I'm hoping that this will be my last time I try and send this one in, because they're so cheap. This card is like 30 to 40 bucks if you can find one raw in good condition, but if it gets a 10, it could be worth, $200-300 bucks. So this is the secret rare from Hidden Legends, or at least I think so. But this is one of my favorite Groudon cards. He's just in a lake. It just looks awesome. Speaking of, really would have liked to have the Groudon from Paradox Rift in this submission. Okay, Gardevoir from Scarlet Violet base. Absolutely fire card. Super unloved, undervalued. Regidrago from Silver Tempest. I like my Regis. Probably like Registeel the most. Skunk Tank, which we pulled. That is the only reason this one is getting graded. I really don't care for this card, but we pulled that personally. Really love Blaziken, and I think that these trainer galleries are exceptional, so I don't care what these come back as. These are just cool. There are definitely going to be some cheaper, cool cards that I'm just grading to grade, just because I like the style. This one is definitely not typically something I think most people would think I would like, but Tinkaton is dope. Love the colors. Really vibrant. The Mewtwo is the only good card from Pokemon Go, pretty much. Alt Art Mewtwo. Great Tusk. Not my favorite, but I did remember battling Great Tusk in Scarlet Violet on Switch, so this card's kind of sentimental. Just if you haven't played the game, I feel like it'd be less sentimental, but Miraidon EX, love this card. Love Scarlet Violet base. This card is so phenomenal, man. This card is so freaking phenomenal. The Cordon and the Miraidon just look awesome. So we got 2 Ionos. Yeah, this is a big sub, guys. We got 2 Ionos. Both of them are off center, so we'll see what happens with that. I'm finally getting my beautiful, infamous Wartortle with the double stamp error right here. You guys can see that. I'm finally getting this card graded. I've sold a few of these for around 200, more than 200 if it was in clean condition. I had about 4 of these at one point. So this is the last one I have, and arguably the best condition one that I had. So, and even this one's not in the best condition. So if this error can get, I hope they just even acknowledge that it's an error, because I know somebody else recently got one graded. But if they can give this an 8, that would be huge. That would be really huge, because the 8 of the regular Top Deck Magazine gold stamp is like 200 bucks. So if they could give an 8 for this error, that would be truly cool. And I just want to get that encapsulated. Some more Sun and Moon cards. This was just a cheap Black Star promo, but it looks awesome with the Giratina and the Garchomp, 2 of my favorites, duking it out. Espeon and Deoxys, another amazing Black Star promo that I can't wait to get graded. The Miriam from SV base, just wanted to see what would happen with that. I had the other in the binder. There were so many binder cards, so many illustrations I passed over, so many trainer galleries I passed over. I was really being very particular with the submission and what I wanted to send, and cards that I truly liked from the sets. And I really like this Raichu, one of my favorite cards from Paldea Evolved. Really like this Meryl. It's a beautiful card. One of my derpier cards in here. Heracross, one of my favorite Pokemon. He just looks sick, so that's a great pick for me. I really like Tropius, and just this artwork is dope, so that one's going. And then, of course, Hype, Tyranitar. Don't even like this art that much, but it is sick. Magikarp. I always say Magikarp. Yeah, this guy's not the best centered, and it even has a little bit of whitening. These are super tough to grade. You guys can see right here, there's a little bit of whitening on that top edge. I don't think this card is going to 10 because there's just a little whitening right there. Like these cards are lower pop, so I don't know. But I'll still like it at a 9. It's a really cool artwork. This Blaziken is probably definitely not getting a 10. It is so off-center that I think they're going to knock it for that. But what it does have going for it is that it is absolutely crisp on the back. Not one dot of white on this card. So really hoping for the best. And the back is well centered. But people have been telling me that Blaziken is never going to make it. And let's just see. Here we got a lot of duplicates. 2 Lugias here that are going in. Both of them not the best centering, so we'll see how that goes. 2 Tyrantars going in. Both of them pretty decent. One is not the best centering, but the other one's really, really good centering that I pulled on during one of our live streams recently. So that was pretty hype considering I have only opened one Battle Styles booster box. I didn't even know I had 3 of these, but 3 Battle Styles Charizards. I must have picked up one again at Regionals and then one at CollectCon, and then I pulled one. Ryan, how do you even know which one you pulled? I know which one I pulled because it is the best centered one. All I have to do is look at these and find the best centered copy, and that is the most likely the copy that is going to get a 10. And I believe that it is this one right here. This is the one that I pulled personally. And then these 2 with a little bit of off-centering are the other ones that I have. So absolutely stunning cards. Absolutely beautiful. So that's going to be fun. And then we get to finally all of our 151 guys. I'm going to go through this because I'm running out of time here and I do want to make the sub today, hopefully. We've got Zapdos. These, I am doing some sequential stuff here, but a lot of Zapdos is going in. I pulled a lot of these. This card is growing on me so much. I think this one is going to pick up in value big time. But I have a lot of those. Then we got 2 Charizards by themselves. Okay. Then we got a sequence here. Alakazam, Zapdos, Venusaur, Blastoise, Charizard. I tried to pick the best sequence I could for that one, or the best condition cards I could for that sequence. And then we got another one right here, another trio, another trio, another trio. So I told you guys I had 6 of these, and I do. So it's going to be fun to send all those. That card right now is like 810, I think, that Charizard. So if that Charizard does really, really well. Sorry guys, I'm struggling right now. Yeah, Ryan, just bend the card, why don't you? Guys, I didn't bend it, don't worry. Yeah, if those Charizards get 10s, if anything in this whole stack get 10s, it's going to pay for a lot of the cost in general, and then I'm getting my cards encapsulated. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Peace out. I'll see you at the next live. Deuce, deuce. And then this will be back, I guess, in 2 months.